Welcome guys, this is the real A-Town aka RGB Fox, and I'm here to discuss the impact of Infinite Forbidden for a Yu-Gi-Oh! As of the recording of this video, I believe it is only a week away as it comes out on the 19th of July, which means that it becomes legal one day before Nationals gets started, at least for North America. I believe every other Nationals at this time has already completed, and we are essentially going to see how much of an impact it's truly going to make. However, I believe it's going to be a insane impact. I'm of course going to be attending there, so hopefully if I am able to compete in the main event, I'll be able to do so. However, that literally depends on whether or not I get the Fiend Submit package, and if I can't, well, you know, it's been a good run. I got my invite for no reason. But hey, right now a lot of people are either really upset, really happy, or kind of in between on how they feel about Infinite Forbidden. And me personally, I'm kind of ecstatic. I am glad that this set finally came out. I've been on the cusp of my tail just waiting for it to come out, and well, what can we expect? Well, first off, we have some gimmick puppet support, which is not the thing that I had on my bingo list for 2024, and fortunately or unfortunately, depending on whether or not you are a fan, Gimmick Puppet is able to have FDKs now, which is absolutely crazy, right? Now, I don't think Gimmick Puppet is going to be that strong, right? While it is with the field spell unaffected with monster effects, at least your monsters on board, you still can be impacted strong by, Imperm, and I believe Droll. Don't, count your luck on Droll though. I may be wrong, I have been proven wrong before, but I do believe that cards like those are going to be relatively strong against the deck regardless, and also they have to go first, so if they go second, they lose. A deck that wants to go second though, Tenpai, they get support. They get their Poplar and I believe the new Poke Draco monster. I haven't seen it confirmed just yet, but I mean, they get a lot of stuff right now, and Tenpai, in my opinion, may in fact be the third best deck, but in my opinion, I still think it's going to be ass. We saw at the recent North American YCSs that they did not have a very big impact in Top Cut, and that's for a good reason. And I think that when you have a strategy that's solely focused on just wanting to play second and OTK your opponent, while it can be impactful, we've seen that a lot of going second strategies back in the day just have not been that successful. And the most successful might have been Dinos back in the day, but I just don't think it's going to be that great still. However, I do see it getting a couple of top cuts in top 64, just because the sheer power of it is lifted higher and the ceiling becomes a bit higher as well. But I still think it's ass. Next, we have White Woods. White Woods is a really fun archetype. It looks like it's going to fit many decks, and the engine overall can be played on its own along with Toy Box, or you can play with Runic. It also enables you to have more consistent lines into Centurion combo. Centurion is a deck that, in my opinion, is not good, and the best time it had was in early 2024, right before we had, I can't talk right now, Phantom Nightmare, right? So before Snake Eyes came out. And in that time period, you could really just compete with just about anything. I know I was playing Sword Soul, so that shows how much I love the deck. But even then, it only really went for one line, and that was for Hot Red or Blazar, right? And in my opinion, that deck was just never that good. However, it does get even better support because of White Woods indirectly, and so I would say if you want to build something fun, you can go for any of those three options with the new archetype. We also have another new archetype in the form of Mimighouls. It looks tier 3 at best, however it does look pretty fun. The last time we had a face down flip archetype was, I wanted to say Ghost Trick, but it's actually probably Shaddoll, unless I'm missing something through the year. Oh, never mind. You know what? We had the crawlers but crawlers are probably the worst flip archetype that's ever been released, right? Mimighouls do seem to be more promising than at the very least that. However, in my opinion, we've yet to see how strong they're really going to be. If anyone's gonna top with that deck though in Nationals, it just might be Pack, but yeah, no. Ragnarika receives support, but I don't see plans doing anything, so it's kind of like eh. And as much as I love Valmonica, or at least the art of Valmonica, the support does not seem to be very good whatsoever. We also have Madolche support, which definitely, I mean, having a non-targeting removal for both grave and field definitely sounds amazing. I still think that they lose to one card, and that is Nibiru. And while Nibiru might not be the greatest card right now, even post Infinite Forbidden, we can't deny that Nibiru is still going to be alive, and its impact is going to be big, right? So let us not kid ourselves. We also ended up getting some great cards alongside of that, right? We have Molchami Perulia, and while yes, you can only draw cards when they summon from the hand, goodbye Flunderies, I'm so glad. We also have to understand that at best, you get 3 draws. At worst, you get 1, and if your opponent is really afraid of that card, that means you get to play. But overall, it's pretty balanced, right? You can't really play it going second. You have to control no cards, and probably the most broken thing about it is that you can activate 2 in 1 turn, and it does stack. But I feel pretty great about it overall, so, you know. Next up, we have probably the most impactful thing out of Infinite Forbidden, and that is the Fiendsmith cards. Fiendsmith is absolutely ridiculous. I cannot stress enough how amazing that archetype is, and it's even better because of Moon Goddess, rather, the Link 2. Little white woman comes out, and that enables Snake Eyes to be able to hit 1-card combo access to it. I also believe that Yubel got that as well in the bag. However, if you were to run my money on which deck I believe has the best chance of winning, it would absolutely be Snake Eye. I think it has the greatest ceiling for the upcoming format, and I shit you not. While I do think Yubel is great, I mean, let's not be honest, Phantom of Yubel or Spirit of Yubel, I forgot what the new fusion is that came out in Battles Legend. That card is absolutely insane. You can summon it multiple times per turn. It's essentially an Omni Negate from what I remember, and I mean, dude, it's actually crazy. And being able to shuffle back your Yubels in deck means that you get to have access to it again with Phantom and all that other good stuff, right? So that in and of itself is going to be great. Number 2, they have access to the rank 10, which they can make with any 2 Yubel monsters, which is also insane. You have the fact that they can make Unchained Soul of Rage, right? And also have an Appaloosa, from what I understand. They have the trap card. I mean, if you're not prepared for Yubel, let's be real, you are going to lose. And indirectly, Unchained also gets some support, like pure Unchained, but I do believe the Fiend Pile deck would be much better than Unchained would ever be. But Snake Eyes, I mean, they get so much. With 1 Fiendsmith, you get access to an Appaloosa plus combo. With 1 Fiendsmith, you get access to Fiendsmith Desiree, which I believe is the level 9 fusion. That's the one that can have multiple face-up card negates. And what makes that card even better is that if you know you're confident, right? If you're confident that your opponent's not going to Nibiru you, or if you happen to have Crossout still in your deck with Nibiru, it means that coming into the match, when you're doing your combo, if you go for Fiendsmith Desiree, you can negate your Princess on field, and with any other body, you get to make an Appaloosa. Fiendsmith Desiree does stop the effect of Princess to restrict you on only fire monsters, because Princess's effect is not a condition of the card, it is an actual effect that you can negate. So if that card is negated, well then guess what? You can make a 2-man Appaloosa with your Link 3 Princess and any other monster on field. Not only that, but he presents another option to play around cards like Talents, to play through Branded Fusion, and many more cards. And with the links, you get maximum 2 targets that you can select. Now, they do have to be at the same time, but what I've always said is make sure you understand that if you have that card on field and you don't have it out to Nibiru, you will lose your board. But hey, some sacrifices have to be made. What else do you have access to? Well, I'm sure you've seen that Fiendsmith, the level 6 fusion, and the Fiendsmith itself, or otherwise known as in the TCG now as Engraver. That card is a level 6. And if you have 2 level 6s or the fusion and Engraver on field, you get access to Caesar. JK. Who cares about Caesar? Everyone cares about Beatrice. Beatrice is a card that's going to be heavily abused now in the Snake Eyes archetype because it does one of 3 things, right? Number 1, it can send Snake Eye Ash in the off chance that you didn't draw any Snake Eyes engine, and then you're able to summon it back with Princess, right? So that's number 1. Number 2, Beatrice can also send a card like Angel of Blue Tears, which when you banish it from the graveyard allows you to set any normal trap from the deck or hand, and if you do set it from hand, you can activate it that turn. But who cares about that? It means that you have access to cards like Impermanence. Okay, not Imperm, let's be real. You have access to Dimensional Barrier, which means that decks like Tenpai and decks like Branded become even worse than they are right now. So the fact that you have an option like that to be able to stop your opponent from playing even harder, having a face-up, or having rather just a turn 1 stun for your opponent is absolutely crazy. You can also get cards like Magic Deflector and many more, right? Hell, if you want, you can set Bottomless Trap Hole. Not that I think that card's going to be good, but you have so many normal trap options that the world is your oyster, wholeheartedly. And the other thing that Beatrice does is it, again, can send things like Witch or anything that can just be revived back if possible, in order to just make your plays even better. Okay, maybe not Witch, but you get the point, right? Anything you want in graveyard, you are going to get access to, and I think that in and of itself is just really strong. Next up, aside from that, Snake Eyes is going to be able to play through a lot, right? Like right now, if you don't prepare yourself with Dark Ruler No More in your side deck, you know, you can lose to the Yubel archetype, right? However, with options like the Trap card, right, like they can still play around it fairly well. But what about Snake Eyes? Well, they can also do so as well. If they and if you don't care about your extra deck size limit whatsoever, and you want to pack the maximum things you can in order to win harder, you can also play the new Top Hat monster. It's a link to that when you summon it can set you a continuous trap card from the deck, maybe even spell card that summons itself as a monster, right? One of those being Azure Angel. I forgot what the card is. I will put it up in the video here so you guys know. But yeah, it means that you can actually go ahead and grab that card. And if your opponent ends up summoning or activating Dark Ruler, right, you are able to activate the trap. And then if you have Fiendsmith Desiree, it means that you can actually go ahead and then chain Desiree to the Azure to negate the Dark Ruler. It's the same thing that you did back in the day whenever you played Dragon Link, right? If you did play that deck, your opponent would activate Dark Ruler, you would activate the Dragon Maid Trap, and then you would chain Hot Red to negate the Dark Ruler, making it ineffective, right? Which was absolutely crazy. And the fact that Snake Eyes right now can do that as well makes that deck even more busted. But I'm not even done yet, because Konami decided to throw a couple of TCG exclusives our way. One of them being the Necro-Equip Princess. It can actually be contact fusion by sending one monster equipped with a monster card plus a Fiend monster card. But why does that matter? Well, it means that you can make this card with one monster on the field. But what do I mean? Shout out to Justin Singh, Jibrio, and everyone else who did point this out. But if you have the Fiendsmith or Fiendsmith Engraver on the field and you equip the Link 1 Requiem to it, you can use that for the entire summon because it fulfills two conditions. Number one, you have a monster equipped with a monster card, so you have Engraver that is equipped with the Requiem, and you have a Fiend monster card. Now, while yes, Requiem on the field is technically an equipped spell, it specifies a Fiend monster card, not a Fiend monster, meaning that Requiem also fulfills that condition, and you can send it to the graveyard along with Engraver in order to make Necroquip Princess, which means you get a free level 6, and it almost means that you don't even have to play the rest of the Fiendsmith engine. You can just play the Link 1, Beatrice, and Necroquip Princess, saving you space in the extra deck to still go for like Access Code or the World OTK Light and stuff like that. Now, whether or not that ends up being the best version, we'll see to this day, right? We're about to see here in the upcoming week. But in my opinion, that gives Snake Eye so many more options to just push further and undoubtedly make it the best deck of the format. So I don't think I'm crazy to say that Snake Eye still has the best chance to win, and in my opinion, I would be hyped to see it win, and then, you know, have it be hit finally by Konami in the upcoming August ban list. I am glad though that Konami is, you know, at the very least voicing when they're going to be doing these hits, and it's about time that we actually get an answer. Now, overall, let's be real. You know, they wanted to see the impact of Infinite Forbidden, but the only thing that it's going to do is it's going to elevate the ceilings of already the best decks of the format and make them a much bigger threat than they were already going to be. And a lot of people are definitely upset. They wanted something like an emergency ban list so that Snake Eyes could be hit before coming to this NAWCQ. But let's be real, they're not going to do any emergency ban lists, not now, not ever. The last emergency ban list was maybe 2016, 2017, and if you're thinking about Spirals getting the emergency ban list, they did not get an E-ban. Konami specified that they were going to do a ban list that November, and they followed through. So it was a ban list that we knew about. It was not an emergency ban list, so it's been years since we've had an E-ban. And the way I know that we're not going to get an E-ban is because they didn't hit tier limits whenever it came through, right? And it rampaged the entire format in mid to late 2022. And if they didn't hit that deck, then surely they were not going to do an emergency ban list for the best contender right now, which is Snake Eyes. It sucks for many, and I do understand. However, I like that Konami didn't perform an emergency ban list or hit that deck immediately after it came out. When the deck immediately came out, people wanted it to get hit right then and there. Then the YCS 3v3 happened. We saw Snake Eyes just dominate that meta during March, I believe, or maybe it was like the last week of February. I forget exactly the timeline, but I do remember people wanted it to be hit immediately, and for no reason. And I don't like when Konami does that stuff. The last time they hit a deck that immediately came through was Super Heavyweight Samurai. It's something that, in my opinion, I believe decks should survive and have their time in the spotlight. And during that time frame, Snake Eye had just came out and people wanted it to be hit immediately, and I think it would have been bad to hit the investment of so many players that really wanted to play that deck, who worked hard for their money in order to do so. Now, does that mean that I'm defending Konami in their greed? No. Let's be absolutely 100% transparent that I don't believe that cards like Wanted should have been $100, that cards like Bonfire should have been $100 at one point. Witches, right? Like, let's be real, those cards should have had multiple rarities at the jump, just like good cards like back in the day did. When I was, you know, playing back in the day, We had cards like Felgrand that had 3 rarities on release. It had a Ghost Rare, it had an Ultimate Rare, and they had a Secret Rare. Cards like Honor Arc, it came out as an Ultra, and it came out as an Ultimate Rare. Now, were those cards expensive still back in the day? Yes, absolutely. Let's not lie here. But multiple rarities meant easier barriers to access, and that's what they could have done for Snake Eyes. And while their greed definitely led them to keep this deck alive a bit longer than it should have, I think that the fact that we had about almost 6 months with the deck at this point is great. I like it when formats are extended like this with the best decks at tier 0 status, because as a player who not only plays casually but also likes to get a bit competitive every now and then, I like when my side deck options are a lot easier to manage than when they are not. So if you hate me for that opinion, so be it. We just know that eventually the time is going to come where Snake Eyes is going to be hit, and we don't have to worry about it no longer. Or will we? We don't know how they're going to hit it, but if they want to hit it properly, they need to hit Flamberge. I believe they need to hit Temple. You could say that they could hit Wanted, but they're not going to hit Wanted, and if you know what's coming in Rage of the Abyss, you know why. They could also ban Beatrice, they could ban IP Masquerena, and they could ban Appaloosa. But even then, if they only hit extra deck monsters, I still believe that this deck is going to be relatively strong. However, I would at that point make the jump to Yubel, and I don't even like Yubel. I don't like GX era, but hey, at this point I'm rambling too much. So yeah, the impact is going to be strong, and if you are wanting to take a break, we wholeheartedly understand, but I think we're about to see a lot of good Yu-Gi-Oh at the latter half of 2024, and I can't wait to see the impact that is going to make in the future with further support that we might find later on down the line. So yeah, if you enjoyed the discussion, I do appreciate you guys listening in. I hope to get your opinions on the Infinite Forbidden set, and to know if you are going to keep playing or if you are going to stop playing. So yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace, have a great day, and good luck for everyone that's going to the NAWCQ.